Fortnite players swear stretch resolution is either completely useless or basically cheating. Some people say it makes your aim smoother, your edits faster, and fights feel way easier. Others say it does absolutely nothing and just looks extremely weird. So instead of arguing about it or just copying someone's settings, I decided to actually test it for myself. I played Fortnite on stretch resolution for a full 24 hours straight. Mechanics training, ranked games, and real fights. And if you've ever thought about trying stretch resolution yourself, make sure you stick around until the end of the video because by the end of the 24 hours, I figured out exactly who should use it and who probably shouldn't. For this challenge, there was only one rule. Once I turned the stretch resolution on, I wasn't allowed to turn it off until the full 24 hours were over, no matter how bad it felt. The moment I turned it on, I didn't even queue right into a game. I loaded straight into my new mechanics training map. Everything I normally warm up with, editing, piece control, aim, even basic building, I forced myself to relearn it entirely on stretch resolution first. If you want to try this exact process yourself, I'll have the map link in the description. So the first thing I did was head into the free build section. Honestly, at first it felt pretty similar. I was free building clean, doing most of what I normally do on native resolution without too many issues. But every once in a while, I'd mess up an edit or a build that I almost never mess up normally on regular resolution. Nothing crazy, but enough to notice a slight difference. It felt like my timing was also just slightly off, and my spacing wasn't as automatic as usual, and that's probably because it was wider. After free building for about 10 minutes though, I started getting more comfortable on how wide the screen felt, and the weirdness slowly faded. Once I felt warmed up, I moved into the editing section of the map. This was the part I was really curious about. If stretch resolution was actually going to make a difference anywhere, I figured it would show up here. So I loaded into the static editing section and started editing as fast and as accurately as I could. And surprisingly, it felt about the same, if not slightly faster. On smaller edits, my crosshair placement felt insanely clean. Honestly better than it usually does on native. But on longer or wider edits, I definitely felt some more inconsistencies. Those edits were harder to hit consistently and my crosshair placement wasn't as reliable. It felt like I had to be more intentional instead of just relying on muscle memory. After about another 10 minutes of grinding edits, I moved into the aim section of the map. This is where stretch resolution can be make or break for a lot of players. I started with a close range shotgun drill, and right away I was hitting some really clean headshots. My aim felt faster, smoother, and definitely more controlled. But every now and then, usually around the 10th kill or so, I'd miss shots that I almost never miss on native resolution once again. It wasn't constant, but it still stood out. And after training that for about 5 to 10 minutes, I switched to another aim drill. I focused on flicks and speed clicking. This one was interesting. Because of how wide my screen was, there was honestly moments where I struggled to keep track of some of the targets. The game felt wider but not tall enough, which made some of the squares harder to see. Even with that though, my flicks felt incredible. When I was locked in, my aim on this drill honestly felt better than it ever does on native resolution. Faster, sharper, and way more confident in it. Then I moved on to one of the most important drills in the map, something everyone should be doing regardless of stretch resolution or not, axis tracking. And this is where things really surprised me. My tracking felt completely different. I was hitting way more shots consistently and dealing way more damage than I normally do on native resolution. This section genuinely felt like a different game. My crosshair felt glued to the targets in a way I wasn't used to, almost like I was playing on controller. Ha, get it? By the time I was finished with all these drills, I'd been practicing for about an hour, and stretch resolution finally started feeling normal. Not awkward, not uncomfortable, but completely normal. That's when I knew it was time to take it into real games and test it out. Now for this part, I'm going to show you 3 ranked games that I think are the best examples of how stretch resolution affected my gameplay over the full 24-hour period. The first game is right after I finish my warm-up, the second game is after about 8 hours of playing on stretch resolution, and the final game is right near the end of the full 24-hour mark. This way you can actually see the difference, not just hear me talk about it. So what better way to start a high kill game than landing at tilted towers? And yes, I only played reload games because it gives you the most fights in the shortest amount of time. This was also low ranked since I was recording this during my unranked to Unreal series. That part didn't really matter though. Anyways, I looted up and decided to fight as many people as possible, but right off the rip I actually died to a player. It was honestly just some common mistakes I made, and I guess I still wasn't fully used to the stretch resolution in that first fight. But it didn't matter. I locked in, dropped back in, got a solid loadout, and pushed the very first person I saw. This fight felt way better. I'm not gonna lie, this kid got absolutely smacked. From that point on, I basically pushed everyone, no matter what. It didn't matter what my loot looked like or how much health I had. If I saw someone, I took the fight. Let me know down in the comments if you guys think I was moving better on stretch resolution in the first game or not. I want to talk a little bit about what actually felt better and worse on stretch res in this first match. First of all, my aim felt way better. I was hitting clean one pumps and some crazy beams, even on people out of the air. Editing felt really good sometimes, but other times it felt pretty inconsistent. Everything else besides those 2 things felt about the same or maybe even a little bit better because of the placebo effect. I ended up winning this game with 22 kills, which is not horrible, but not my best either. And with this first game out the way, we move into the second match, which was about halfway through this challenge, and oh boy, this game is where things really changed. In the second game, I landed at tilted towers again. For some reason, I always play really well on this map. I got a ton of loot off spawn and then rotated up to the mountain near Tilted. And let me tell you, now that my aim was improving this much on stretch resolution, I was absolutely frying. I just sat up there beaming people out of the air who were dropping back in after getting eliminated. I was basically farming players midair. I know it sounds annoying, but it was kind of fun to do. And even if I did miss a few shots, I would just finish them the second they landed. After beaming a bunch of people, I just started to moving around the map and fighting anyone and everyone I saw. This rank had some of the most bot-like players I've ever seen, and I'm pretty sure it was around gold or plat, and most of the fights lasted 2 seconds. Or I just completely beamed someone either on the ground or in the air, and I didn't get a ton of ground fights this match, but I did get to eliminate a lot of players. The final fight was actually kind of decent, but I was still just way too good for this lobby. I ended the game with a 35 bomb, which was the highest kill game so far in this challenge. The biggest difference between this match and the first one was that everything felt a little bit smoother and more connected. My aim, my movement, and my decision making were all synced together instead of me still being distracted on what has changed. And now that we're officially halfway through the challenge, it's time to jump into the final and easily the most insane solo reload ranked match I have ever played. I dropped on the mountain near Tilted once again, just like the match before. I looted up and started spraying at the people dropping from the sky. I did this to maximize the number of kills I could get at the beginning of the match. After killing about 10 to 15 players, I realized I needed to prioritize more ground fights this match, so I started pushing everyone again. This match I was moving, like really moving. Every ground fight I got into, I either won in 5 seconds, or the player would try to play it out and I would chase them and somehow figure out how to kill them. Some of the fights got pretty close, but since these lobbies were lower skill level, I just kind of ran through them once again. The main goal for this match was to take as many ground fights as possible, and everyone I saw who landed or was already in a fight, I would push. I even got third-partied multiple times, and I still managed to kill all of them. Towards the end, there were some players who were actually really good, and this last match felt as familiar as when I normally played on native resolution. Everything kind of just synced up, and it felt like I was finally playing at my full potential once again. Sure, I made some bad edits, bad plays, or missed shots, but that's just the reality of Fortnite. In turn, I learned what stretch resolution is actually good for and who should use it. So after a full 24 hours on stretch resolution, here's my honest truth about it. First, who shouldn't use it? If you've been playing on native resolution for years and your aim, edits, and awareness are already fully locked in, stretch can feel more harmful than helpful. Most pros play on it for a long period of time. It messes with muscle memory, makes long-range fights harder, and lowers your horizontal vision, which can get you caught off guard more often. It also just looks worse. If visuals matter to you, or if you already struggle with awareness and getting surprised from the side, stretch will probably make those problems a little bit worse. And if you're still learning the fundamentals, I genuinely think that native resolution is the better option for you. Now, who should use stretch resolution? If you play super aggressive, take a lot of close range fights, and rely heavily on box fighting and tracking, stretch can be insane for you. Player models feel a bit wider, tracking feels a bit smoother, and close range aim just feels easier once you adjust. If you don't mind relearning your aim and sacrificing some visual clarity for your performance and responsiveness, stretch can give you a real advantage, especially if you're on a lower end PC, especially if you already have solid mechanics and want something that makes fights feel faster and way more controlled. So, is stretch resolution cheating? No. Is it useless? Once again, no. It's a tool. Whether it helps or hurts depends entirely on how you play and how you use it. If you want to try it, commit to it fully. Don't switch back after one bad game. You gotta give it some time, and preferably longer than 24 hours. And if you guys want more videos like this, comment below with a video idea or what you think of stretch resolution personally, and make sure to check out my creative map, leave a like, and subscribe for more content like this. I love you all once again, have a great rest of your guys' day, and thank you for taking time out of your day to watch my video. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace, guys.